I'm Luke Summerhays, and I love Deerling. Deer are common almost all over the world. Only Australia and Antarctica lack any native deer population. Perhaps owing to this geographical ubiquity, they are also ubiquitous in the mythology of many cultures. It makes sense that deer find themselves in fantastical stories. They live aloof in the forests on the peripheries of the human world, and their antlers can often be far more intricate and impressive than the horns of the mythical unicorn. In Shinto beliefs, as I mentioned when discussing Stantler and Wyrdeer, deer were the messengers of the gods. In the Norse myths, 4 deer were said to eat the leaves of Yggdrasil, the world tree, named Dain, Dvalin, Dunir, and Durabror. Some scholars believe the 4 stags are the source of the 4 winds, while others believe they are associated with the 4 seasons. Deerling is a normal and grass-type Pokemon, resembling a fawn or young deer. It first appeared in Pokemon Black and White, which also happened to be the only generation of games to feature seasons. Every month of real time, the game world would change between the new seasons, with leaves falling or snow melting, changing the routes available to players. Pokemon White tells us, "The turning of the seasons changes the color and scent of this Pokemon's fur. People use it to mark the seasons." In the spring, Deerling can be found the pink color of cherry blossoms. According to the Pokedex, they have a sweet and calming scent. Pokemon Violet tells us, "Despite Deerling's adorable appearance, farmers consider it a nuisance since it loves plant shoots and will eat them up." In the summer, the blossoms have subsided, but Deerling is a bright green like leaves. In this form, they smell like fresh cut grass. Pokemon Scarlet tells us, "To prevent Deerling from entering their fields, many farmers will have several lichen rocks stand guard, as they are the natural enemy of Deerling." As the summer turns to autumn, the leaves change their color, and Deerling is a rusty red. They now have a softly sweet scent that lingers on the nose, and Pokemon Scarlet says, "These Pokemon are not shy. They will behave as they please, even in front of people. If you feed one of them, it will quickly take a liking to you." And in winter, the trees have lost their leaves, and Deerling is a woody brown. In this form, it has no scent at all, and Pokemon Violet says, "This Pokemon will playfully headbutt those it gets along well with. It has antlers hidden under its flower, so the headbutts are a little painful." In the subsequent games in which they've appeared, there hasn't been a season system, and so they were either only available in one form, as in the 6th and 7th generations, or their forms were found in different climates throughout the region, like in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. One exception is Pokemon Go, which naturally enough follows real-world seasons, although in this version a Deerling stays the color you catch it and doesn't change as the seasons change. The name Deerling simply implies a small deer, while the Japanese name Shikijika combines the Japanese for the seasons, Shiki, with the Japanese word for deer, Shika. Whatever the season, and whatever color Deerling is at the given time, if it reaches level 34, it will be able to evolve into Sawsbuck. Sawsbuck is a proud adult deer, with a pair of antlers which resemble the branches of a tree. As the plant life is contained to the antlers, the body itself has a more realistic coat of brown fur. Pokemon Black tells us, "They migrate according to the seasons. People can tell the season by looking at Sawsbuck's horns." And Pokemon White says, "The plants growing on its horns change according to the season. The leaders of the herd possess magnificent horns." A deer with a tree for antlers is a striking image. and I'd wager that Deerling and Sawsbuck have had some influence. In the film Annihilation, one of the first signs of the unusual corrupted life is a deer with cherry blossoms on its antlers, very similar to Sawsbuck. In the video game God of War Ragnarok, the 4 stags from Norse mythology I mentioned at the top of the episode can be located as part of a side quest. And just like Sawsbuck, they are deer with tree branches for antlers and foliage coats, and each of the 4 represents a season. In spring, Sawsbuck's beautiful antlers simply sport a few tastefully placed pink blossoms. Pokemon Scarlet tells us, "It seems that a Sawsbuck with many flowers on its antlers will grow at a slightly slower pace because the flowers absorb the Pokemon's nutrients." In summer, a majestic bush of green leaves cover the antlers. Pokemon Violet tells us, "This Pokemon's leaves can be made into a black tea, the taste of which varies depending on the region of origin. Paldea's is especially aromatic." In autumn, a stylish Sawsbuck's leaves are even more abundant, red in color and sagging about to fall. Pokemon Violet says of this one, "Sawsbuck in their autumn form are known for having very short tempers. The males fight each other incessantly." In winter, Sawsbuck's antlers are bare and pale white. It also has a bushy white fur coat, presumably to keep it warm. Apparently, this is the least popular among in-universe Sawsbuck fanciers, but I think it looks adorable. Pokemon Scarlet says, "It's said that Sawsbuck are calm and easy to tame during the season when they take on this form, so it's the perfect time to make one your partner." And Sawsbuck is worth making one's partner. It can be obtained fairly early in the game, and its appearance will keep you interested throughout. Its ability, Chlorophyll, can help it out on sun-based teams, or its other ability, Serene Grace, lets it make the most of certain moves, so it isn't entirely without a competitive niche, especially as weather teams are a big deal in Black and White. The name Sawsbuck takes buck, a male deer, and the more likely to have antlers, and adds the initials for summer, autumn, winter, and spring, SAWS. The Japanese name is Mebuki Jika, a combination of Shika, deer, and this time Mebuki, to bud. I grew up in the UK, where the weather is mild and kind of wet all year round. Before moving to Japan, I heard people talk about the 4 distinct seasons, and I thought I knew what that meant. When I got here and experienced just how different the temperature, atmosphere, and colour of a place could change from season to season, I understood what it meant to live in a place with real seasons. Cherry blossoms exemplify this with their distinct colourful states, and Deerling and Sawsbuck combine that with a cool animal into a Pokemon so perfect it's been ripped off at least twice. Original music for Luke Loves Pokemon is by Jonathan Cromie. Artwork for the show is by Katie Groves. Funding is provided by listeners at patreon.com/podcastiopodcastius. For just $1 a month, supporters can listen to episodes a week early, and also help cover hosting and fees, making it possible for me to keep making episodes every week. I love hearing from listeners. Get in touch about upcoming Pokemon on Twitter or Facebook at LukeLovesPKMN. Drop a comment if you're watching the video, or a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Coming up are Carablast and Emolga, so please get in touch about those or any other monsters. And even if you don't feel like doing any of that, thank you so much just for listening. I love Deerling, and remember, I love you too.